you read the book, but still, how did you take that information and put it to use, or how did it keep you fired up to go a step farther and actually try to get involved?
Well, again, I have to go back to my mother. In 1963, which was 100 years of the NAACP and 100 years of the Emancipation Proclamation, and they had the speaker, the NAACP president, I can't remember his name, Wilkins, I think it was, and he came to Biloxi, and his speech was 100 years of celebrating of freedom, and yet we're not free. And my mother paid $5 for me and my sister, and $10 for her to go. So that was a huge amount of money out of her meager salary. Meal, I don't remember the meal, but this man just, you know, just fired me up, you know. And he talked about, you know, the Reconstruction vaguely, segregation, and school desegregation, and all of those things that they put in our path to keep us ignorant and dumb and in poor jobs, and all of those things. It all fit together, you see what I mean? And as a result of that, kind of forgot it until 63, and that's when I don't know what made me go to this meeting, but I think I'd read the flyer about this meeting. I ended up at the UBA hall, which was not far from my house, in walking distance of my house, and Fannie Lou Hamer was there.
Now, what kind of meeting was this?
It was a meeting about the summer project of 1964. This is 63. And they was going to organize each county in the state, and they was going to get black people registered to vote. And voting was the most important thing that a black person could do in a state that probably had the lowest turnout of blacks and the highest percentage of the population. No, well, no question about it. Blacks were the greatest population in the state of Mississippi.
Now, in the early 60s, that was the most focused upon key issue for empowerment?
Well, it was the NAACP core and the new Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, well, the Southern Leadership Conference, and then the Congress of Racial Equality. Ella Baker was working in that division, and she helped create the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And its job was to take that whole emphasis program to voters' rights. And they was going to register people to vote. And they chose Mississippi as the first test because blacks was about 60% of the population statewide.
So as a young kid, and you joined this organization, what was your role at being a 12 or 13-year-old?
Well, they just needed, I really was it was different. I kind of fell into it. I remembered the meeting, I went to the meeting, and that was in January or February, my birthday month. And then in June, they opened up an office on Main Street, and I went to the office, and I remember I had gone to the meeting, and I told everybody I went to the meeting, and they said, "You want to be a part of it?" "Yes." "What can I do?" They said, "Pass out flyers." "Okay, fine." And, they just gave us little penny jobs, and I said, I want to learn how to register people, and so they put me with a team, and I went out to listen, to take notes, and then I got to the point I enjoyed it.
Now, at this time, was that unsafe? I mean, could anything have happened to you for going to those meetings and going out to register people to vote?
Well, in as much as the black community was isolated, it could have happened, but nothing happened in Biloxi per se. My first big encounter was across the bay, and that was in Ocean Spring. It's in Jackson County, and Biloxi is in Harrison County, separated by the Bay of Biloxi. So you cross the bridge, which is just 4 miles. You're in Ocean Spring, and they sent me over there to register people in Ocean Spring. So we were doing a canvass, passing out flyers and talking about the mass rally we was going to have in a couple of days. And the chief of police shows up, told us we had to stop there. I challenged him. And he said, boy, I'll put your little butt in jail. I laughed at him. He says, you got $5 on you? I said, no. He says, I'll arrest you for vagrancy. I said, you can't arrest a minor for vagrancy. I'm a minor. He said, how old are you? I said, I'm 15. So he didn't believe me. So he took me down to the fire station. And several of the white kids I was working with followed me down there. And then he asked how old I was. And I said 15. So I could prove that, because I had to have a worker permit, and I had one. And it said 15, you can't arrest a minor in jail. And they stayed with me, so he said, you get out of here, take your butt back to Biloxi. That was the end of that.
So did that discourage you in any kind of way, or did
Oh, no. It was that night at the meeting, they gave me the floor. And I was with these, one other black was with me. And, but I was the only person got censured by the police because he was lying, and I quoted a Bible verse from him. Those who say he loved the Lord but mistreat his fellow man, he's a lie and the truth not in him. And, or at least I thought it was a Bible verse. And he got mad. He got upset. He said, you calling me a liar? Yes, I am. And then by that time, a crowd had developed. So I felt confident that he wasn't going to do anything to me. But scared when they took me down to the firehouse. I knew what they were going to do. They were planning on whooping my butt. I didn't know whether I would take that type of a butt whooping. And I might have been 14 then, but anyway, I got through that. And that night, I came to the rally, and they asked me to tell my experience, and so I told them. And we got quite a few registrations that night. In fact, it was a success.